Hello, and a warm welcome to the latest of our stories from the Strongrooms. Talks informed by the narratives found within the collections here at the Hull History Centre. This month we are doing something a little different. We are looking at our project to improve online access to Hull's records of quarter sessions. The project was born out of the necessity to find staff valuable work that they could carry out at home during the second coronavirus lockdown in the autumn of 2020. Obviously, we could not allow our precious documents to leave our purpose-built centre, which has all the environmental conditions necessary for their long-term preservation. We knew that we had to think of a project that would benefit visitors and researchers in the long term, but that would not compromise any of our original documents. We were presented with a unique opportunity to undertake a project on a large scale, but the circumstances of the pandemic meant that anything we came up with needed careful consideration. The answer lay in our surname index cards, a legacy of our predecessor before the advent of computers. Many of these index cards were created by youth training scheme youngsters in the 1980s as a way of giving them work whilst making documents more accessible to customers visiting the archives. The card indexes have proved incredibly useful over the years. As a search tool, they hold detailed information that can help visitors to the History Centre find records relating to individuals. However, a barrier of the card index is that a researcher must be physically in the building to search through it to see whether there is any relevant information, or, if using our inquiry service, for staff to search on their behalf and wait for the results. We felt that the situation we found ourselves in warranted a change in the way this information could be made available, and I came up with an idea to put all the information on the index cards that related to Hull quarter sessions on our database, with a view that the information would eventually be uploaded online so that people could access it from wherever they were in the world. The work took some degree of planning. Our 6 customer assistants all needed access to IT and Microsoft Word at home. The archivists required access to the council's IT network so that they could check the accuracy of the work and upload it onto our archive-specific database known as Axial CALM. The thing that was most time-consuming and difficult to organise was the extraction of all of the index cards that related to quarter sessions from our bank of index drawers. We had to organise different times for staff to come into the History Centre so that we could comply with social distancing rules in place at the time. It was like a military operation and something that was totally alien to us all. The assistants were all given a letter of the alphabet to start with, and it was my job to ensure that each member of staff could transport the cards home safely and that they had enough work to last them until they were next in the building. So what are quarter session records, and why are they so important? In Hull there is virtually an unbroken run of quarter session bundles dating from 1741 to 1971, taking up some 114 linear metres of shelving. The Court of Quarter Sessions was the meeting of the Justices of the Peace for the county, held quarterly at Epiphany, Easter, Midsummer and Michaelmas. Sessions business encompassed 3 areas: the dispensing of justice, local government administration, and statutory enrolment and registration of documents. So as well as responsibility for prisons, lunatic asylums, police forces, licensing and much more, the justices also heard court cases and coroners' inquests. The justices of the peace were local men, often appointed from the gentry or church. Crucially, the records of quarter sessions reveal many aspects of life of the people of all ages and backgrounds in the late 18th to early 20th centuries, and can be invaluable for researching family or local history. The sheer variety of material covered amazes anyone who delves into them. Academic researchers have variously used them to help explain suicides in 19th century Hull, the dangers faced by seafarers whilst ashore in the town, and the harsh sentences given to fallen women for petty offences. The scope of these records for research purposes is so full, so vast and so fascinating that there really is no end to their potential, and making the information available online will help to make such research much easier. Rather than requesting boxes of quarter sessions and trawling through them for cases, as much information as we can gather will go online, thus making it not just a search for a surname in a card index. Customers will instead be able to narrow their searches using subject terms such as bastardy or accidental death. We have even included the person's abode and trade where it is known, so that a search can be undertaken to find all the hawkers accused of a crime, for example. The normal practice of clerks of the peace in Hull was to file all the papers relating to a particular quarter session in a bundle or bundles. Although the History Centre can boast an almost unbroken run of quarter session records, prior to this project they were only listed online as bundles by years using the reference CQB. There was no supplementary information available apart from that on the card indexes and in a set of rather clunky paper indexes which were compiled by our predecessors to provide access to some of the more specialised items in the session bundles. They relate to sets of records such as pauper removal orders, the registration of places of worship, insolvent debtors, Freemasons' lodges, calendars of prisoners, etc. Unless staff and customers are aware that these subject lists exist, they often get overlooked. In addition, the lists are incomplete, difficult to decipher, and contain very little background information for the researcher. Hopefully, at the end of this project, all the catalogue entries relating to calendars of prisoners or the lists of pauper lunatics, for example, will be available at the click of a button. Plus, it is our aim to provide vital background information about why and for how long certain administrative powers came under the jurisdiction of the Justices of the Peace and the Court of Quarter Sessions. The project is ongoing but has slowed down since April 2021 when we saw customers returning to the History Centre and our normal activities resume. We still have one member of staff inputting data from the index cards for a few hours each week, and other staff in the building have been adding information such as the cause of death on entries for the deceased in the case of coroner's inquests. Whether the death was an accident, a case of drowning, scalding, natural causes, excessive drinking, heart failure or suicide. They have also added information relating to the accused in court cases, such as whether they were charged with assault, theft, fraud, riotous assembly, prostitution, etc. There has also been a focus on finding information missing from the catalogue entries, such as individuals' trades and abodes, as well as missing dates. Staff have occasionally had to consult the original quarter session bundles for this information, something that wasn't possible when they were working from home. As I have already mentioned, the collection consists of 114 linear metres worth of records, and we envisage that the project will run for a good number of years. This is because some quarter session bundles were never indexed in the old card index system, let alone pulled down from their original format, that is, fastened together with string. A future volunteer project maybe. It was not until the establishment of county councils under the 1888 Local Government Act that quarter sessions were left with purely judicial functions, and under the Courts Act of 1971 quarter sessions and assizes were replaced by Crown Courts administered by central government, so the records really are very vast. The idea is that the online content will be released systematically in batches relating to subject rather than in any chronological or alphabetical order. Watch out for over 550 entries of cases of bastardy which will be released online this autumn. From 1844 to 1858, mothers of illegitimate children could demand that the father be summoned before petty sessions, where an order might be made for maintenance and costs. There was a right of appeal from petty sessions to quarter sessions, hence these documents being amongst our quarter sessions collection. As you can see from this example, they typically name the mother of the child and the name of the alleged father, as well as the result of the application. You might notice that halfway down this particular document, it states that Sarah Brewster appeared at the court in October 1849, and rather than an order for maintenance and costs, the happy outcome was that the father was not named and the parties left the court and were married. I hope you have enjoyed listening to this month's edition of our Stories from the Strongrooms and getting to glimpse something about our cataloguing processes. Without the pandemic, I very much doubt we would have had the opportunity to begin this project to improve the online access to our quarter session records. I hope that you will understand the importance of it and watch with interest how it progresses. You might be interested in knowing that to date we have uploaded over 92,000 entries relating to quarter sessions onto our cataloguing database, which will in time be added to and uploaded to our online catalogue, where you will be able to search for vital information such as names, dates and types of record. If you are here via YouTube, remember to subscribe to our channel and get notified whenever new videos are uploaded.